Libra. Let's talk. You know, when you take a risk or you stand up for yourself and you do what you know is best for you, and then everybody comes out of the woodwork and wants to question if you're okay and you know what you're doing. Like, are you sure that was the right thing to do? Why are you asking me now? I already did it. Or you haven't done anything yet because it hasn't like been brought out in public yet, but you have this nagging feeling that it will, and then you're going to have to react. So there's that going on. There's also career stuff where you've been putting a lot into people, let's put it that way, into your partner, into your job. And there's some feeling of being held back, of like, why isn't this working the way it should? Or I really thought I was gonna get that. What's going on? Like, what's up with my luck, Umber? You guys are just going through a lot of change, and Chiron is sitting across from you in Aries, and you know, it pulls. It pulls. I know you felt it around the Libra moon. That Chiron moon opposition business was no joke. And it's a theme for June that you will find out, have to deal with, have to explain why you're making the difficult decisions based on the difficult evidence, the difficult information. It's a month to be tested and tried, and you come out the other side feeling true, feeling like you're the truth. Like, no, like I've been on my I'm the truth shit. Like, people around me have been bugging, people around me have been disloyal, people around me have been opportunistic, but I've been the shit, I've been loyal, I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So now when I start swinging that sword around, don't be surprised. Like, you can't expect me to be fair about everything, and then I have to find out some bullshit. Because for all the fairness and all the justice, Libra, when you are wronged, you are vicious and you have every right to be. So if there's any people around right now who want to tell you how to act, what you should and should not do or say, they're not walking in your shoes. They haven't been going through what you've been going through. Ace of Cups, good. Exactly. Exactly. There's so much good stuff. There's so much new opportunity. There's so much confusion to get over, especially if it has to do with an earth sign. There's so much to move on from. That's just like, you look at it and you're like, that's nonsense. I'm really about this life. Like, this is nonsense. You can keep this. I'm really about this life. Can I have this life, please? Can you? I don't even know if we want to pick these up. We see it, bottom of the deck. Let's keep going. We have our Ace of Cups. And now what can we do to become aware of it so we can even grab it when it comes? What do we have to do? How do we maneuver ourselves now with all the truth, with all the decisions to be made, with all the reality setting in about career? Two aces in a row, Ace of Swords. So there is great love and great opportunity once you start using the sword. Only makes sense. Let's keep going. It's good. Very powerful. Cardinal energy, you got Cancer season coming up. Your cardinal energy, boom. It's very good. It's exactly what you need to be doing. And this is exactly what you don't need to be doing, although I know you feel it. There is a sense of regret with the Ace of Swords, but I really feel like I've said this many times, and then I stopped saying it because you guys are like, oh, it's never a positive reading. It's not that it's not a positive reading, but it really does have a lot to do with standing up for yourself. If you're not standing up for yourself, Not only do you feel walked all over, but the anger that has been building for quite some time, it's like this flashpoint, something happens this month where you're like, all right, I don't think I need to see any more of the true. This is about as true as it needs to get. And you know how Gemini season is for you guys. Everybody's telling you everything. Like, I really didn't need to know that. Bottom of the deck, that Capricorn. And so a lot of cards fell out. Wow. Okay. A lot. So 5 of Pentacles, King of Wands. If you've been dealing with a fire sign, they're in quite some misery. If the person you're dealing with has been dealing with a fire sign, don't worry about it because they're not ending up anywhere nice. 8 of Swords and the World and the Knight of Swords. So yes, it may seem a little bit grim at the moment, or it has been for the past couple of weeks, but it's getting better. And it gets better when you take charge of your life and you say what needs to be said and you stand up for yourself. Some of you are regretting Ace of Swords. Some of you are regretting some big decisions that you made that you're like, I should have listened to my instinct. Why did I do that? Why did I make such a big decision going against my instinct? I hate that I did that to myself. There's some of that going on. Okay, High Priestess and the 3 of Pentacles. So there has been a push on your part to really recede into the background and let the semblance of a happy, life thrive, and have the people around you totally buy into it. And I think what you're finding out is that a lot of those of you who are with someone, a lot of what you liked about that person turned out to be totally false. And they're actually quite good at pretending to be something that they're not. So you fell back and you watched the situation for a while and you're like, no, this person is like real sketch. Like, wow, like that's crazy sketchy. And then 2 of Cups, 9 of Wands. So you may think that you already know everything, but there's so much more here that's still to come out. Now, if you're not dealing with an earth sign and you're not in a relationship and you're like, what are you talking about? Well, let's look at it from a single point of view. The Ace of Cups is new love coming in. The Ace of Swords is needing that big realization, that big idea, that moment where you understand why the cups have been handed to you and what you have not learned so far in the choices that you've made, what you've tolerated too long in past relationships. So either you're in a relationship right now where you feel like you're tolerating too much, or you have in the past, and this month brings that into focus. Like, you know what you've been doing. You know, we've been down this road before. When the next cup is offered to you, do you take the same road or do you make a new road? There's also a lot of you, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, 5 of Cups, that are being asked, King of Wands, that are being asked by an authority figure, a family member, someone who has quite some say over you, and they want you to cut off whatever you're in. If you just got into a relationship or your family just found out, they're not happy about it. So there's a lot of regret from that. 5 of Cups. 8 of Swords is feeling, really caged in by other people's questions, by other people's beliefs. Their opinions about what you're doing are running rampant. And it doesn't matter if you do this or that. Everyone seems to have an opinion. When you didn't do anything, there was an opinion. When you do something, there's an opinion. Like, it's so much, Okay, my bangs are irritating me now. Okay, fine. Let's just leave them. Okay. So after 8 of Swords, we have the World and the Knight of Swords. So really there is a invitation to you that the world needs to talk to you. The world needs to hear from you. The world feels, like your unique voice has somehow gotten lost and is missing. And if you're dealing with another air sign, especially, like, you've been swallowed up by them. And like I said earlier, the High Priestess, Three of Swords, you've sat back, you've fallen back, you watched, you let it, you let it progress. So the advice here, if you're not with someone, is to hold back until you learn more. King of Wands, Five of Pentacles is also about people approaching you where you realize later in the month that it's all illusion. And also people, if there's someone in earth sign, especially that's trying to get into a relationship with you, they're realizing that not everything is the way you've made it seem. Bottom of the deck, now we're kind of getting into the extended, is the Devil, the Emperor, and the King of Swords, and then the Three of Swords. So, realizing at one time that it wasn't just one person who's betraying you, but it has been in some ways a concerted effort by several people. And there might be an Aries involved, or an Aries and a Capricorn that were somehow helping each other out. A lot of treachery revealed. What I would do is I would, at the new moon on the 3rd, I would just take a second and make your intentions for your next whatever, for your desires. What is it that if you got it, you'd be like, okay, that would be amazing. Like in terms of work, in terms of love, like, yes, that's what I would be into. Make a list. Make a list. Because maybe you need to show yourself that there is still a lot of love and a lot of hope and a lot of opportunity out there, because you could in June kind of fall into a slump of like melancholy and why, a lot of people asking you, why did you do it? Why did you do it? Why didn't you just figure a different way out? Why did you take this route? Why did you have to do it like this? And I think you get to a point, Knight of Swords, where you're like, listen, should I just tell the whole world what happened? Because if you're going to keep bugging me, I'm going to have to say like, you're already embarrassing me. You're already making me look like an idiot. And if you're dealing with this in a work situation, then your boss is really squeezing you. And you're like, okay, do you want me to just quit? Because I'm not doing it like this. And you kind of have the same, you have the same energy if you have a partner. You have the same energy with your friends even, where you're like, listen, this is how I am. Do you want to be in my life or not? Like, your actions now have to back up what you're saying that you want from me. People expecting a lot from you, but the funny thing is there's a switch up where you're actually coming through in June and being like, oh, you expect a lot from me, but what should I expect from you? You want to come at me with your gripes about, oh, why did you do this? And what happened here? And you want me to explain all of that. But what about you? What's your place in my life? Like, what makes you worthy of being in my life? Because Libras never ask those questions, because Libras don't like to be that real with people. They don't want to hurt people. But if people are getting in your business and asking you to explain yourself about stuff that, like, honestly is none of their business, maybe you should be asking them too. Like, but what about you? Why should you be a part of my life? If you're going to question my decisions to this extent, if you want answers to things that you should trust me on, if you make a decision, Libra, the best thing that anyone who loves you can do is back you up. You're a loyal person. You back people up. You want people to back you up. So you might flip this, on people, like they want to put you in this melancholic state, but instead you could flip it on them and be like, but wait a minute. Like, maybe I'm sad because of people like you. Maybe it's not my life choices. Maybe it's that my friends don't support my life choices. Or I'm allowed to change my mind. I did this and now I don't want to do this anymore. Or I found out this and this about this person, so I don't want to do this anymore. You don't have to give them a reason. You don't have to give them an explanation. But if you want to, you can. Or you can easily tell them that requiring an explanation from you for whatever you're doing makes them really not that cool to hang out with. So, a lot of choices. Most of it is social, but there is love here, and there is some financial stuff. You feel Five of Pentacles in some ways, this lack of money, and I think a lot of people are asking you for money, and you're having to readjust in terms of money and learning to live on more of a budget. There's a lot of like constriction, but it will pass. So you just really have to keep faith in that Nine of Wands. There are opportunities coming up. It will pass. The difficult decision part does usually have a dip where you think for a second, you know, there's that dip where you think to yourself, did I do the right thing? Because now I feel like I'm struggling. Yes, you did the right thing. And yes, I think the struggle is part of testing whether you really wanted to do this or not. And you are very brave and you are very determined, and Librans are courageous. And I think when it comes to their self-care and their happiness, they can be super, super brave. And I think you are being really brave. So kudos to you. If it feels really difficult and you feel really alone right now, don't. You are not alone. You are loved. You are supported. And any situation that makes you feel bad about you is not a situation that you need to entertain. Period. Okay? Love you. Let's look at these cards, yeah? Hi, Libra. Okay, let's take a look. So, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, great. What do the aces want from you? The Ace of Cups wants you to take the cup. What does that mean, take the cup? It means your hand has to be free to grab the cup with both hands. This is a gigantic cosmic hand, right? This is a gigantic cup. This is a lot of opportunity. My cup runneth over, right? This is about the divine dropping some wisdom, some opportunity, some good luck, some grace into your cup. This is a very heavy cup that requires two hands. Like a video game, the tool you need most appears next. That's why I'm glad I put that earth sign back in the deck. Like, okay, we get it. Like, homie, we see you. We see you and we see what's happening, but we want to know what to do about it. We don't want to just acknowledge that we see you. Like, this character loves just being seen. You know, forget it. Like, we're not with this. No, forget it. And the Ace of Swords is a gigantic sword held by another gigantic cosmic hand. And this one, whatever you cut off now, whatever new thing you come up with now, whatever new venture you go into now, especially if it has to do with the air sign things, right? The law, writing, communicating, analyzing, creating. If it has to do with any of that, it will be your crowning glory. It will bring you immense fame, money, popularity, but in a different way. It's respect. It's about victory. This is also a tool that requires, or a blessing, a gift that requires both hands. So, after you're shown very clearly what is in the ether trying to present itself to you, then you are given the reason for why. If it hasn't happened yet, why? Funny thing about this guy, we can't see anything of him. Not his face, let alone his arms and hands. He is consumed. And it's interesting how much this card comes up. And it makes sense because we do tend to spend most of our time living in the past or living out the future that we think is going to happen, which is always directly correlated with what we think happened in the past. See, it doesn't matter what really tipped those cups over, Libra. That's not why anyone gets stuck here. And I'm not saying you are stuck here. But if you are, whatever you think tipped those cups isn't in reality what happened. You know that. It's a subjective memory you have of that thing. This is your opinion that has got you stuck. It's your own thought. It's not the reality of what happened. And I know you could say, no, but that's exactly what really happened. Yes, to you. There's a lot of sides to the same story. Now, instinctively, right, you know this. I know this card is going to be really hard to pick up. This card doesn't want to get picked up. Instinctively, you know this. You know that this is your own doing, your own thinking. When Libra vacillates, it can look like this. Also Two of Swords, but this is more pronounced. This is beyond vacillating. This is, uh-oh, so many things I should have said, should have done, should have, could have, and now, and why is everyone asking me why I didn't, and I shouldn't have, or I should have, and oh, geez. But the show must go on, Libra. No one knows this better than you, and soon you're back into it. I wish I could tell you that Cancer season is going to be a breeze, but I know you already know that it's not. You are well aware of your cardinal sister's abilities and the spooky that it brings out of all the cardinal signs. As we go towards the full moon on the 17th and then we move into Cancer on the 21st, you really want to start adopting a not wait and see so much as I've pushed so far back behind my own perception of things that I can see clearly now, not the story that one tells themselves, not the story that other people like to tell you, but the many stories and the many true truths. In the Rick and Morty episode, they make fun of Cloud Atlas, and in alternate reality, Jerry is a movie star who's in Cloud Atlas, and the quote they use when they're watching Intergalactic Cable, forgive me if you're not following this, is Jerry saying, sometimes the big true is different from the small true. And I'm sorry for that very long-winded example and explanation, but really it applies. And if I had just said it, the 5 people who are watching this who watch Rick and Morty would have gotten it, but nobody else. So now you can all go watch that episode and you'll get it. And if you don't watch that cartoon, you really should. Not a plug. You really just should, because it's absolutely fantastic and it's really, really smart. Okay. So the big true is different from the small true. Now this is the small true. Yeah. And this is other people's very small truths, almost inconsequential, but not to a Libra. We get it. And you feel the need to, you know, like say it how it is and kind of clear your name even a little bit. But you know, the reason it's so important for you to step back to look at the big true, I will stop, I promise, is because whatever that situation is, was, or is going to be, there's just a lot more that has to be revealed still. You don't know all the details. So although you're really itching in this very emotional Mars in Cancer, Mercury in Gemini sky, you really are itching to like say your piece, tell your story, get out of this feeling, this stagnation by moving your words, by communicating your feelings. Just understand that things aren't quite settled yet. There is still so much more that you can't see coming. That's the thing about the 9 of Wands. It's stuff you can't see coming. But how fortunate to have an image of what it looks like when you can't see something coming, but it's actually going to be for your benefit. Those things that he can't see behind him are not bad for him. You see how we're conditioned that certain situations just make us think that it's given such a pejorative connotation. It's very negative. You can't see it coming. That doesn't mean that it's all bad. Quote unquote, bad or good. I mean, what does it mean anyway? These are opportunities. These are huge opportunities, no matter how they come disguised. And all of them will be the truth. And that's what's paramount, and that's what's most important. And you are in your Libra bag when it comes to that. You guys are all about the truth right now. You are like, I'm telling you, that's why I keep saying the true. It's your energy. That's what I'm going to call the video. Don't be mad. Because you really are on that. You really want to know and say and live in, and like you guys may have already been saying, like, I'm living in my truth. I spoke my truth because like it's enough. Okay. Some of you may feel the need to recede a bit in an unhealthy way because you want to continue to put on this, you know, show of everything being great if you're in a bad situation. If you're not in a situation at all, you may find yourself very quickly getting into something that you need to, by Cancer season, take a second to look at and go, wait. Is this the kind of person that can walk this road with me? If you're already in the situation, you may want to take enough of a step back that you can see what this really is and who that person really is. You need to take people behind your veil and show them from your perspective, because what they can see, they don't really understand what's going on with you. This is one of those months where if Libra doesn't open up and tell people the true, they're going to think you're tripping. And so it's when you take them past your own version of the story to like, no, let's get very real. This is what's really going on. Then you stand a really good chance of, one, perhaps exposing that person a little bit for who they really are. But also this is about your own agency, your ability to alchemize any situation into something that's amazing for you. Remember, they're all opportunities. And that earth sign leaving the month feeling very diminished in your eyes, and rightfully so. Or whoever new has come into your life, by the end of the month, you're like, you ain't shit, let's keep it moving. Okay, over here, speaking of, so the Five of Pentacles and the King of Wands, someone who at one point you really had a lot of respect for. Like you really thought that this person was something, a lot of authority, a lot of, this could even be a parent, and they're just not happy with like what's going on with you or what has been going on with you. This could also be you thinking about one of your parents and something that you find out about them that really makes you, you know, they fall from grace in your eyes. It could be you already, Mars in Cancer, looking into those cybernetic settings. If you don't know what cybernetics is, please get a hold of Psycho Cybernetics or watch the animated podcast episode on the channel. It's just a few scrolls down on the channel to get a little primer on it. But really, that's only so you can go and listen to or read the book. And no, this is not a plug. I'm in no way affiliated with Maxwell Maltz. I'm just a huge admirer. And I use Psycho Cybernetics as a tool. So in that particular modality, what we talk about a lot is what we learned from our primary caregivers and how those few most poignant of emotional states impress upon the subconscious, and then you end up living your life out by those patterns, much like a cybernetic setting on a computer. So one could even say most rudimentary form of AI. Okay. You may be looking at some of the things in your life and realizing that you behave the way you behave because your parent, primary caregiver, whoever was around at that time, had some pretty toxic things going on and some pretty toxic beliefs. A lot of catharsis comes with the true, mon ami. Now, in the extended, which, like, I can't wait to get to it. There's so much tea here that I'm like, ah. In the extended, we're going to talk about all these people, okay? All these people who, this is really interesting because you do have a lot of hard work coming up, but also so much promise. And it has so much to do with your ability to really buckle down and give it all you have. And it's also funny because you're almost assured that if you do follow Saturn's rules, you will succeed. But right in the midst of all of this, there is this emotional side of you that's, okay, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. I really want to know. We'll talk about it in the extended. I love you guys. Mwah! Happy Gemini season, but also happy June. Please trust me when I tell you that the readings come out when they have to or when they're supposed to. And, oh, there you can see them all now. Let's get right into the extended. All the links are below. You can find it on Vimeo. There's also a guided meditation for Gemini season. If you haven't checked that out, I would recommend it because things, you know, as Gemini season progresses into Cancer season, it's one of those, well, think about it. Mutable water to cardinal air. Sounds like hurricanes. So, but also this coming week, we visit the best restaurant in the universe, not only in the Gemini season guided, but also on a new episode of Revolution Ramblings, which is top 100 in religion and spirituality in the world right now. So congrats to all of us. On another note, here is one of the rings that is part of the new Arcana collection that I am putting out. I'm working with a designer from Denmark, and I'll tell you more about that, but these are the rings I always wear, and so now they're going to be exclusively for the Revolution. They will debut, inshallah, in August, and the first two will be the High Priestess and the Empress, which would be green onyx and the amethyst. All right, so looking forward to that. When they're up, they will go up on the website. Okay, people. Oh, one more thing, and I've been saying it in all the videos, and I would like to mention it here. Summertime can be very difficult for some, and you may be one of those people who find themselves dreading the idea of having to see everyone around you socially link up. Watching other people connect can make you feel even more disconnected. And we know that disconnect is what causes deep depression in most cases, or brings on the apathy that causes deep depression. So all of that is to say that if you find yourself in a space where you feel alone and you feel disconnected, first of all, know for sure, for certain that you are not. You are loved. We love you. And you have us as a resource. You can always reach out to us. We're on Instagram talking all day long, on Twitter talking all day long. But also know that there are professionals who are designed to help you, who are platforms that are designed to help you, and professionals who deeply care about helping you, and they're available all the time. So I would like to start including some, what I think are essential phone numbers in the info box for these videos. I've had a couple of requests since I started putting up the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, so I would like to add a few. There's going to be a number for a nonprofit that helps, a hotline for domestic abuse, and a hotline for rape victims and sexual assault. So you will find those numbers below, and please, if you need them, use them. Like I said, we all love you. But sometimes you just need to talk, and you know, this is the season. Gemini, as a Gemini, I can tell you that sometimes you just need to talk. And when you do, magically, that just connecting with a person and talking to them can ease so much of the burden that we carry alone. Okay? If I say it 3 times, will you believe me? I love you. I'll see you in a second.